Hi, good morning. I have just taken a few photographs of a little vase of small bone china flowers that I left in the garden. It is obviously a made in England design. I will put some information about the actual company on my blog. And what I found is the reason why it actually cracked is because it had all of this, I would call it plaster of Paris, in there to fix all of the flowers and leaves individually. The other thing that obviously they have done when they've made these, which would have been mass produced, is they have only glazed the bare minimum. So obviously the stems are not glazed or even painted, and this was probably to make sure that they actually fixed securely into the plaster of Paris or concrete that they've used to obviously weight down the little vase that the flowers were in. This will not go to waste. What I usually do with any broken crockery is I leave it in the garden until I need it, so I don't want bags and bags of it in the house. But what I will do is I will look at making these little flowers and possibly using the vase as well. I will upcycle them into a new item that I will then either decide to keep or may consider posting online at a later date. It's such a shame, when things like this do get broken, because you do not see this level of detail or things made like this anymore. Sadly, most things now in the UK are reproductions of things from people's childhoods, and a lot of stuff is even now made in China. You can even see now where the glue that they've probably used at one point is as well. Even Port Miriam now, if you actually look at Port Miriam, which is highly collectible still for most people, I remember going to my friend's house and eating off Port Miriam plates. To her mom, it was just a everyday, crockery that she would use to feed her family upon and serve her meals. When you actually look at Port Miriam now, you can buy it in places like TK Maxx, and it actually says, although it is designed in the UK, it is now made in China. So if you are a fan of Port Miriam, be aware that there are reproductions or recreations of Port Miriam out there, or modern influences of Port Miriam. But if you are an avid collector, you want to make sure that they actually say made in the UK on the base of any of your Port Miriam. Anything that obviously says made in China is not, in my opinion, the traditional Port Miriam that I would have remembered 20 years ago when I visited my friend's house and sat around their table and just loved looking at all of the vivid detail in the butterflies and the flowers that you would finally see emerge from under whatever exotic food her mum would have created. In many ways, it always reminded me of the book The Butterfly House, because although she didn't have to technically have real butterflies in her home, most elderly people that I know, even myself, have always collected butterflies. So at my friend's house, it was on the plates, whereas at my children's grandparents' house, they have literally a wall that is just full of butterflies, and mainly brooches.